Next piece, we're going to do Space Marine 2
All right.
review.
Got any
Official.
theme music?
Yeah, man. I was
Da da da
expecting
da
it.
da 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 DMG gaming review. Shut the
That's
fuck up.
pretty good. All right, go ahead. I know you're going to interrupt me, so go ahead and get out of what you want to say right now
Not even.
before you interrupt me.
I'll save my questions for the end, like a
Okay.
normal interviewer.
Okay. All right. So, Space Marines 2 review.
Mhm.
Let's go in and I'll give an overview. I'll give an overview of the multiplayer, the campaign, the operations, and then I'll go into the PvP because I did play some of that too. Okay, let's go overview of the main campaign. It basically takes place. You are now Lieutenant Titus. Uh, you basically got moved to the the Death Watch to serve a penance, basically, and that's how the game starts out. With you're the Death Watch. The planet got invaded by the Tyranids, and you play your first mission as Lieutenant. You don't know he's Lieutenant Titus at the time, but you just play as this Space Marine who's with the Death Watch, and you go in there. Great scenery, all that stuff, and eventually you'll get to he'll be picked up by the Ultramarines again, reinstated, and you'll be given a squad. But let me tell you, dude, the campaign for this game, we talked about it kind of on the last podcast, but the campaign for this game is phenomenal. It is one of probably I can't think of another game that's better than this when it comes to a main campaign. Just everything put together, visuals, like graphics, the story, and just those scenes that like give you chills down your spine. Like I experienced so much. I mean, that's more because I'm a 40K fan.
Mhm.
Like 40K fans will just completely fan out over this stuff. I mean, it's unbelievable. But newcomers will get introduced to the grim dark universe, which is 40K. Like the universe at war all the time. You don't get sleep. You are a super soldier that is basically in a battle 24/7. That's pretty much what it is. There's nonstop war, and humanity is like I guess you can say there it revolves all around all out war. That is the purpose of the Imperium of mankind. It is about building your society revolving around war. But then you drop in as Lieutenant Titus and you play the campaign. You get to see all these kind of throwbacks to the tabletop with some of the scenes. Great dialogue, great story throughout the entire game, especially your squad mates. They introduce you to you eventually towards the end, which I didn't think they were going to do this, but you get introduced to your chapter master, which is like your Primaris, or he's like the equivalent of a Primarch, I guess you can say, in the universe. But like he drops down from this aircraft and he has his guns and he's just mowing down people. But they introduce all those cool aspects of the 40K universe, like all the troops and everything like that you have, and they don't give them like a side piece, like you'll have a guy that helps you out and you'll think he's going to die or something like that, and then you have to take over the mission. No, I mean they drop some legit, like they give a good call out to a lot of the 40K universe, and especially the Space Marines, like mechs and all that stuff like that. But so anyway, and there's some really cool lines in it through the story. But anyway, so your chapter master drops in towards the end, and then you'll have a scene of Titus. He goes up on this like small little hill where the Ultramarine standard is, and he picks up the standard and holds it aloft. And you have a gun, and you have one of the bolt pistols in your hand, and you're shooting it while holding this banner. And you have all your brothers, all your other Space Marine, Ultramarine chapter brothers with you in the kind of like surrounding you as you're taking out all these aliens that are coming after you and Chaos Marines. Because that's kind of where the story eventually develops. You first starting like protecting and purging a planet from the Tyranid invasion, and eventually they start introducing the chaos and basically the warp into the story, and you're fighting basically Chaos Marines and stuff towards the end. But I mean, that scene alone when he's holding that banner and, you got all those guys around and people are yelling and, everyone's killing all these chaos minions around you. It's really cool scene. Like it's a really cool scene. And then you get to eventually, towards the end, you get to the final fights. I mean, the boss fights are really epic. They're really well done. And they're not too hard. Like, you have different settings you can put your campaign on for the difficulty. Normal setting, it's not too hard. But once you start getting up there, it starts getting kind of rough because those monsters when the Tyranids, when they surround you and you're trying to, dodge and parry and all that stuff, it can get rough. But overall, it's not too difficult. And it just pops the 40K universe. It's really the best 40K game I've ever played, and I've played quite a few of them. The tactical RTSs. I played Inquisitor. I played the Mechanicus one. I forget what it's called. I think it's called like Adeptus Mechanicus. It's another kind of RTS one. I played a lot of 40K games, including the original Space Marine. But this is by far the best, hands down best one, because it really gives you what it is to what it feels like to be a Space Marine by the visuals and the combat and stuff like that. That hand to hand fighting, which they're very favorable of, and the brutality of the universe. But it's just such a fantastic game. Now let's talk about the operations, the multiplayer. The multiplayer was kind of, when in the early access, it wasn't that good because I mean you still had like 130 something thousand players, right? But we were having issues with like server connections, and it kind of got buggy every now and then. They eventually patched that, and it's a lot smoother now. Like getting players on your team and then going on a mission. You can either pick the mission solo. The point of the operations is you're doing a mission that was kind of referred to in the campaign, like Titus giving his other three squad mates a different assignment, and he talks about it through the campaign. You're basically playing those guys that are like doing some of the side stuff for him. But the operation multiplayer, I mean, is just as good as the campaign when it comes to combat. If you're starting a lower difficulty, you're not going to have as many enemies. But as you get higher in the difficulty, you're going to have hordes of enemies. I would suggest, like, once you're at like level 5 or maybe even 10, but like level 5 going up, maybe one difficulty for the multiplayer. But yeah, you just do all the side, everything that was called out during the campaign. You're basically doing those missions for each one, and it's basically a rehash, but a different playthrough than you see in the campaign. But it was fun because you can customize your Space Marine that you choose from whatever class you want. I've been playing at Vanguard, the guy who has a grappling hook. Basically, I can grapple and go towards the enemy and kick them, and then a lot of melee damage too at the same time. But they have different classes like Assault. You have the Thunder Hammer. You can jump up and fly up in the air and just crash down on things. That's a pretty fun class. They have Sniper, Bulwark, basically your tank class, and Heavy with the big heavy guns and stuff like that. Overall, I've really enjoyed the multiplayer. I have once, especially after they patched it and it fixed a lot of the matchmaking issues they were having. PvP is the same way. They did patch that. It's fun. It's not like you need to be a pro to play it. You get what I'm saying? Because the controls are so simple. There's nothing that you can do. Maybe classes might have a certain advantage over other classes, or maybe have a certain advantage over PvP. Assault is really good in PvP, at least from what my experience was playing it. Just because you can hover in the air and shoot, and you can crash down and cover, amount of area really quickly. Excuse me, yeah, Assault, and you got other ones that are pretty good, but PvP is very fair. Like you don't need to be a really good player to play it. You know what I mean? Because the mechanics just are a lot fairer than you would find in other, I guess, PvP games or like hero shooters and stuff like that. And but yeah, PvP was fun. Multiplayer was fun. especially being able to like pick different chapters of Astartes and stuff like that, Space Marine chapters, and a lot of customization. You get better looking stuff as you level up and do more operations. So overall, let's close this review out.
Here comes the score.
If you're a 40K fan, you are going to love this game. This is going to be your thing. If you're a newcomer, you are going to be introduced to a universe that you're going to end up wanting to look up a lot of stuff on. All right, if if you don't know anything about 40K, you play this, you're going to enjoy it. But I want to guarantee you right now, you're going to be like, "Ooh, what is this and what is this?" And like googling stuff because it throws stuff into. Like, I could see someone new coming into the genre or the IP saying, "That's really cool. I want to know what this is." So overall, my final score is a 9 out of 10. Uh, that might be a little bit biased because I am a 40K fan. I don't know, but to me, it was an enjoyable game. It was a great
And you're a
campaign,
Marine.
and I'm a Marine. Yeah, technically, yeah, I am a Marine. Will always be a Marine, but it's it's like I've never played a game that really gave me a lot of like goosebumps. You know what I mean? When I saw a
Mhm.
scene or something like that. When I saw, I mean, it was just so action packed. The campaign was, and it really gives you goosebumps because there's really cool scenes in there. Uh, but yeah, overall, 9 out of 10. It's a great game. I recommend it to anyone. Uh, Especially when once you're done with the campaign, you go right into multiplayer, start leveling up a class, start getting new custom, start customizing your Space Marine and everything like that. And in the PvP, if you like the chaos side of it, you can be Chaos Marine.
Okay.
It's up to you.
So, so I got the question for you. The question that I have to ask. You know what's coming. What do you not like about this game?
I wish the campaign was longer, dude.
Oh, okay.
It is a short game. Like you can beat it easily within 6 hours. I'd say,
Mhm.
like going straight through it nonstop. I'd say easily. Yeah, probably around 6 hours. Uh, but those 6 hours are just epic. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not boring. There's no
Is there
boring
anything
part of the game.
is there anything that you wish that they could have done better? Not
I think they I think they need to revamp the PvP or not even the PvP, maybe the multiplayer on your core perks
mhm,
that you get when you level up compared to the challenge that when you go up harder in difficulty on the multiplayer,
mhm.
like maybe make it a little bit stronger
Yeah.
as you're leveling
That
up to
that makes
make
sense,
it
yeah.
a little bit, kind of equal out that difficulty.
Mhm.
Because later on, like when you get higher in difficulty, like the fourth tier, it gets pretty crazy. Like when things can just almost one shot you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the defensive bonuses you get for certain classes aren't there. Some classes are made for defense, but you should get some like you get like health regen, but it really doesn't make up for the amount of damage that you're taking. So
Mm,
hopefully they kind of revamp that a little bit. Maybe let's say buff all the classes a little bit when it
mhm.
comes to the defensives. Um, but yeah, man, 9 out of 10 for me. Great game.